Elon Musk upend crypto? Or is it the greatest thing that's ever happened to crypto? Does political division bring in more money? Or does everyone panic and sell everything? If you want answers to these questions, you want to know what Elon Musk's new party means for crypto, you are in the right place. I am your host, Bill Noble. We got a great show for you tonight. Big show because of the Elon news. I want to remind you to smash the follow button and hit the like button if the content works for you. Also, if you want the rated R version of tonight's stream, don't forget to visit the Patreon link, which will be posted down below. When you watch this video, you will get a comprehensive view on what the new party means, what it means for crypto, should you buy or sell. Now, naturally, this is not investment advice, it's just my opinion, and perhaps a little entertainment. Should you buy or should you sell? Is it a top? And what will the U.S. administration do now that Elon has declared his own form of independence? Okay, let's welcome who's here. We have Joey. An exciting time to be alive. Big Rich in the house. Been a YouTube member, right? Don't forget to check out the YouTube member area as well, where Ace, Toby, and me do live picks, news, and the wobble effect for the summer. Don't miss that. Philip Kohler, 3 a.m. in Spain, GF, welcome. Okay, let's get right to it. The big, beautiful bill. What happened? I believe Donald Trump saw things like border security, let's call it, and related expenses as being absolutely necessary. Because as the far right will say, all right, as the far right will say, you know, if you don't control who's here, you don't have a country, right? There's a biblical verse about, you know, if you let too many people into your country, they'll wind up running your country. All right. So in order to get that done, he had to hand out $2 or $3 trillion worth of sugar, to the point where the U.S. government will have to borrow $3 trillion between now and the end of the year. Now, that alone is a reason to moon crypto, right? Who's going to buy all those bonds, right? Because that's how they get the $3 trillion. They got to sell bonds. And I have a theory that they're going to need to perhaps back some of those bonds with Bitcoin and get a little bit creative. They may also have to do it with the dollar. This was Robert Kennedy's idea back in the campaign before the Orange Man came in and took the crypto narrative away from him. Ironically, I saw a tweet with Robert Kennedy saying Bitcoin was the answer. Now, when Elon forms a new party, I think it's a race between him and the administration to see who starts buying Bitcoin en masse. For example, Elon is being a little bit of a butthole doing this, undermining the president, especially after recent events out in Eastern Europe. All right, so how does he keep this cool? Well, he starts buying Bitcoin. He's got $1 billion already, and he can say, well, I'm not really happy with the current system, so I'm going to start buying Bitcoin. Now, of course, what's the Orange Man going to do? He better do it faster. Like all this Bitcoin that's being moved around, it's Roger Ver's, it's John McAfee's, everyone's got a theory. What it really is whales who don't want to see another 80% drawdown, just going, you know what? Over-the-counter dealers want this for Michael Saylor in the ETF. I bought $10,000 worth of Bitcoin. It's now worth $1 billion. Thank you very much. Now, what they're not understanding is that this thing with the sovereigns, US versus Elon, is a big deal. Because it's not a race for politics yet. It's a race to see who can get the crypto bro vote. They're going to start courting the crypto bro vote right now. Right now. And more than ever, the orange man in the current administration has to change the subject quickly, and it's not tariffs. Like, they can do tariffs, but all that's going to do is embarrass them and put Elon, with that giant Twitter platform on their case left and right. The crypto pivot for the administration makes more sense now than ever. More sense now than ever. And the beautiful thing about it is it's happening on a Saturday night on a U.S. holiday weekend when everyone is like, oh, nice, I got to go to my barbecue and my fireworks. And I get that. And that's perfectly okay. Okay. But people are not understanding what this means or could mean for crypto. Crypto should be epically higher off this news. Now, again, this is like the darker side of it, so I'll try to keep this as cool as possible for public social media. This opens the door for the left. It does. The far right doesn't like certain influences that foreign powers have in Congress, right? That's on the right. The left, right, wants more money for poor people. I saw a tweet from 2018 that where Elon says, at heart, I'm a socialist. So if you get a little wealth redistribution going, right? Like, their money is their money and your money is their money. They're talking about endorsing Andrew Yang, who's a big universal basic income guy. Now, in fairness, he's from Silicon Valley. Silicon Valley knows what AI is going to do to the economy eventually, and they know that they're going to get blamed for it eventually. So the concept of handing out sugar, universal basic income, and perhaps ending certain influences over the American government could put some elements to the left and some elements to the right together, opening up a situation where the left, which is permanently vanquished in some ways, is back in the game. They're back in the game in New York City. They're so scared of this guy Zohran that they're trying to get the Republican candidate to drop out and endorse a Democrat who ruined the city. I mean, 3 candidates is wild. I was around for Ross Perot in the 90s. This is way more serious. Back then, Ross Perot came in and you got Bill Clinton, who was uniparty. It's all the same. This time, they're opening up the door for a left comeback, particularly if job losses and things like that accelerate for whatever reason. Now, here's another reason to question the system. And here's another reason to buy crypto. Oh my God. 9,000 layoffs at Microsoft. I saw something on LinkedIn that says layoffs ruin your organization. No matter how much you apologize, they destroy your people. The people that are left, not just the people who are gone. That leads me into the section about crypto bros, about Elon and his party, and what it's really all about. Is it about saving the United States? Is it? It wasn't about saving the United States when he needed money for electric cars and rockets. Really what's going on is Elon wants to cut costs, so there's $10 trillion to send an army of robots to Mars. Human beings really can't live on Mars because of the radiation. You know who's going to Mars? Elon's robot army. That's who's going to Mars. So it's not the America Party, it's the Mars Party. And they'll be handing out sugar to get votes like everyone else. And good luck winning Congress, because Congress is bought and paid for. Now, they can put Andrew Yang up there with universal basic income. They could put Thomas Massie up there. But at the end of the day, you ready? It's the civil WAR that Dalio talked about. And in times of WAR, that's when people like Michael Saylor have said, that's when people discover the new paradigm, which of course is crypto and privacy and Bitcoin and antivirus and you name it. You name it, right? This is when people figure out, oh, wow, yeah, maybe we need crypto. Maybe these guys have lost their mind, right? They're going to start infighting with each other right away. Right away. So how is this not good for crypto? They got to get the crypto bro vote. People are going to discover, hey, I got to get on chain or I got to get a different form of money. I mean, here's a little comment. Can you imagine Elon mouthing off on Twitter every time the US government has to do a bond auction? And billions and billions in this thing about like the debt tracker? Do you want to own that currency? I don't. I don't at all. And trust me, there's no other way to have the dollar go down except to have Bitcoin and crypto go up. Now, let's go back and just talk briefly about why Bitcoin isn't moving and who the new buyers could be. Supposedly, whales have been moving like $50 to $60 billion out of wallets, the recently most public one from Satoshi Era Wallets, and they're selling them to the ETF guys and to Michael Saylor. One thing that's really interesting is when you hodl, you have to live with downdrafts. But once you get out, it's very hard to figure out when to get back in. And it's funny that these guys have been selling for months, which is why Bitcoin is caught in this range, right? Bitcoin would probably be in a bear market with everything else. But you've got big players taking it in a very confined space from whales, supposedly. So you're building up the tension. You're winding it up, you're winding it up, you're winding it up, you're winding it up. And this provides a lot of room for crypto and Bitcoin to go higher. Now, maybe that's a short-term thing. Maybe that takes 30 days. I think it's going to wait until this weekend until people figure it out. People figure out that they've got to get the crypto bro vote on their side now. That's the starting point. Like fringe right, fringe left, 60% of the people on Twitter are in favor of the new party, whatever. Whatever, okay? They both have a way to get the crypto bro vote now. Now, let's transition to a much different topic. Do you realize the meaning of Independence Day? Independence Day is about your sovereignty, right? It's about you being your own person. And when some tech bro, this is my opinion about the subject. When some tech bro, first he tells you who to vote for. He writes this big check and makes a big splash about it. Wrecks his car company in the process. Now he's going to try to buy your vote to go over to the next side. Okay, I think it's sleazy. I think all of these tech bros want to play God. They all do, right? I mean, Elon and Jordan Peterson had a conversation. And, Jordan Peterson asked Elon, hey, do you trust yourself with all this power, like the AI? Do you trust yourself? And Elon's not fully. Now, Peterson thought that was a healthy answer, and it is. It is. But can you imagine how much power these guys have and how the power is exponentially growing with AI? Again, I go back to Microsoft, 9,000 people gone. Elon ruthlessly let people go out of Tesla, at a whisper of an electric car price war with the Chinese. After working people on that factory floor, like, I don't want to say to death, but they had like massive mandatory overtime during the Tesla heyday. Guys would come home and collapse on their couch. So I'm not buying any of this altruistic tech bro horse, you know what. The orange man is volatile And I don't know where his motivations fully lie, but I think he's a patriotic guy, right? He just has to get the deals done. He's not a saint. There's a lot of grift. There's a lot of crypto stuff going on with him that's a little questionable, but he does have 8% of his net worth in crypto. His kids are long. World Liberty Financial is long. And if he's got to walk into the office Monday morning, pull in Lutnick, the guy that runs the Sovereign Wealth Fund, the crypto czar. What has the crypto czar been doing for 6 months? Somebody tell me, please. Somebody tell me, please. Okay? Tango FN is here. Welcome. Welcome, sir. Alan. Right? Bull Runner is in the house. Caroline Storyteller. Loyal YouTube members. Thank you. Fuzz Crypto. Sean O. DNT Saver. What's up? Daniel J. Mr. Blackjack. You look like you're on the far left. Sir, I am definitely not on the far left. I definitely am not on the far left. I'm with the John McAfee, get out of my face crowd. That's who I'm with. I grew up a Republican, if anyone wants to know. Now, again, and I've said this before, this guy in Manhattan, Zohran, okay, who was voted in by a completely different demographic. The way I say it is, the college kids, Gen Z, voted him in. If you have even a modest threat of wealth distribution, or you just have an idea that now is the time to get on chain, right? Machines will not use fiat. And I keep waiting for the day when everybody wakes up and goes, oh, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not doing this legacy thing. I'm not doing it. So am I on the left? No. I'm on the side of the crypto bros. My guys, the Spartans in Patreon, right? Our YouTube members, what's up? Joe Hackman from Strong Island is here. TV Media. I am not on the left and I am not on the right. I exploit their profit, their policies for profits. Good for you, sir. Good for you. And you know what? That's what this stream is all about. That's what it's all about, right? How do you practice getting rich? How do you practice? Now, two guys I want to talk about, like a little bit about Elon. Does the guy have a track record? Does he? Does he have a track record? I don't know. I don't think so. Again, this looks like a tech bro tantrum. And you know what? It won't be the last tech bro tantrum. They're all panicking. He's panicking about going to Mars. The rest of them are panicking on how to build Skynet. Is any of that in your interest? Just out of curiosity, right? There are a lot of reasons to think about crypto. Now, a word on TA. Yes, we're going to monologue TA. I was looking for a pattern match. You know, I have a pattern matching system, and I was like, you know, could Bitcoin be setting up in the same way it's set up in April, right? Where that was that kind of like spurt to 110. It's very possible. My system shows a 96% probability. Now, in the event that that's not true, and for some reason this winds up a negative event, I think the first thing that everyone's going to buy, ready, is Solana. Solana. Real world assets, stable coins. I mean, the ETF, every day that case grows. And Elon could buy Bitcoin. He could also embrace Doge. And if he really wants to court the crypto bro vote, you ready? He could just come in and buy XRP. Like, not XRP, the coin. He could just come in, and buy Ripple. This is just simply called scenario analysis. Because I don't think somebody's saying, oh, I'm forming a new party, and then just going, oh, okay, well, yeah, just kidding about that. No, he has to do it now. And all these guys, they're already on the tape. There's tweets everywhere, right? All the right-wing influencers, like Fed's Chairman Powell says, you know, Fed Chairman says you can do crypto. Robert Kennedy on the tape. They're playing all the old videos. If you think for 1 second that the orange man is going to sit around, this is like another key thing. That the orange man, after all the things he's been through, the lawsuits, the jail, and all that, if you think he's going to take this lying down, like him, don't like him, it's not going to happen. Now, let's use our bearish imagination for a second, right? If these guys come out and start fighting on the tape, and that winds up a distraction, like, for example, if the orange man goes down this tariff rabbit hole again, based on 2017 analysis, when they talk tariffs, Bitcoin goes down. When they shut up about it, it can go parabolic. Which is he going to pick? If they were smart, they would pick crypto. But if they don't, we're listening to more and more and more tariff nonsense. By the way, I appreciate everybody who's here. T-Rex, JB from Southern California, what's up? Pancakes and peanut butter, loving a little bit of Solana. This is Sunday night at 8:19, right? Crypto is sort of slumping and going down, all right? Also, there's this whole theme about who's moving all the Bitcoin around and about whether or not an intelligence service created Bitcoin to begin with. And you know what my attitude on that is? If you're interested, of course that's what happened. Who could keep something this quiet? It could be the Japanese intelligence service. It could be our intelligence service. Because I happen to know for a fact, after 2008, it's a published working paper. Our intelligence community told Congress in a report that the biggest threat to the United States would be a repeat of 2008 or worse. All of a sudden, Bitcoin appears, and all of a sudden, you have permanent QE. Permanent. Now, let's speak to this Bitcoin as collateral, right? The housing market is locked. Ironically, the people who are buying houses are buying them at the all-time high. I don't know how anyone buys a house unless they use crypto as collateral. Okay, one of our crypto czars, or the CFTC guy, was saying crypto can help change people's life. And Daniel J says QE infinity, right? In other words, if we're going to Mars, it really is QE infinity. It is. Universal basic income is QE infinity. So regardless of who wins, right? The left starts a panic. I mean, I guess maybe the left is bearish on the first trade, but it certainly isn't bearish for privacy, which is my narrative with my little pet project, antivirus, right? At 3 million market cap, you're pretty much never going to get me off that. I'm going to be like Michael Saylor with that, right? Just saying, hey, privacy matters, especially if the left is back in the game, right? Philip is reminding you that hitting the like button really helps. I'm looking for 200 likes on my regular live stream, and I would love to get this up to 30. Love to get it up to 30, so slam on that like button. All right, folks, that is it for my monologue. I stretched the monologue out to 25 minutes. I am absolutely not going to get off crypto, even if they try to force me out. I think this political development starts a crypto arms race. All right, AZL is here. Cisco, thank you. The crypto arms race starts tonight. I'm your host, Bill Noble. Hit the like button on the way out. Have a good 4th of July evening.